What if I told you that the moment Harry and Meghan Markle stepped onto the Golden Globe red carpet in 2026, the world didn't just watch, they roared. But not with applause, not with admiration. The cheers were replaced by a tidal wave of boos, murmurs, and shock that rippled through the room like an electric current no one could ignore. Imagine this, a room full of Hollywood's elite, cameras flashing like strobe lights, and all eyes on a couple who have defined celebrity royalty for years. And yet, instead of the expected welcome, there was something darker, something raw, something that nobody saw coming. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. You're probably asking yourself, how could this happen? How did Harry, the once beloved prince, and Meghan, the duchess whose every public move is scrutinized, suddenly find themselves under fire in the very heart of glamour and glitz? And why now, at the Golden Globes of 2026, of all places? There are whispers circulating, some in the press, some in private security briefings, about tension, about unseen drama that made this moment far more explosive than a simple red carpet entrance. Tonight, we're going to dive into the chaos, the whispers, and the moments that the cameras didn't catch. We're peeling back the velvet curtain to show the truth behind a spectacle that shook Hollywood and the royal image at its very core. Think about it. The Golden Globes are supposed to be a night of celebration. Stars smiling under the lights, glittering gowns, perfectly tailored tuxedos, a room filled with people who have mastered the art of performance. And yet, in this sea of practiced charm, Harry and Meghan's arrival sparked something primal, almost shocking. Some would say it was unfair. Others would argue it was inevitable. But everyone agreed, it was unforgettable. And tonight, for the first time, you're going to get the full picture of what happened, why it mattered, and why it's still sending shockwaves across the globe. It started the moment the limousine pulled up. The crowd didn't cheer, they froze. For a split second, time seemed to slow. The flashes from cameras illuminated every detail. Harry's tense jaw, Meghan's composed but tightly clenched hands, their shared glance that seemed to say, "Brace yourself." The photographer's shutters clicked like gunfire. You could almost hear the collective intake of breath, as if the room itself was unsure how to react. And then, like a spark igniting dry tinder, it happened. A boo. Just one. A single sound, but it reverberated louder than any applause. It was enough to shatter the air of expectation, enough to make the very walls of the event feel charged with tension. But that was just the beginning. Within seconds, the single boo became a ripple, then a wave, then a full-blown storm of audible disapproval. Celebrities shifted uneasily in their seats. Some whispered to neighbors. Others laughed awkwardly, unsure whether to join in or pretend nothing had happened. And cameras, the cameras, caught every second of it. Close-ups of grimacing faces, wide shots of awkwardly averted eyes. Every angle documented a moment that would go viral in minutes. Social media would explode. Clips of that first boo alone would rack up millions of views within hours. And yet, behind the cameras, the real story was far more complicated, far more explosive than anyone could imagine. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. Insiders say the tension wasn't random. There were rumors swirling that certain celebrities had been waiting for this moment, ready to react in ways that would amplify the drama. Some suggest that past grievances, long-held grudges, and a dash of Hollywood politics collided perfectly to create a scene that no PR team could have predicted. Imagine, if you will, years of public perception, gossip, and rumor distilled into a single, chaotic red carpet moment. And yet, for Harry and Meghan, it wasn't just about public opinion. This was personal. Every boo, every murmur, every sideways glance hit at layers of emotion that we, the public, rarely see. Pride, vulnerability, anger, shock, and yes, perhaps even fear. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to walk into a room where the energy is against you? Where every step you take is measured, every smile weighed, every gesture dissected? That's exactly what Harry and Meghan experienced. They have faced criticism before, certainly, but this, the sheer immediacy, the audacity of it, was different. It was raw. It was public. And it happened in real time, in front of the world's eyes. For some viewers, it was shocking. For others, cathartic. And for the couple themselves, it was a moment of reckoning, a reminder that fame, status, and royal history cannot shield you from public judgment. But let's step back for a moment. Why does this story matter now? Why should you care about one red carpet night, even if it involves some of the world's most famous figures? Because this is more than just a celebrity scandal. It's a collision of two worlds. The glamour of Hollywood and the heritage of royalty. It's about perception versus reality. About how millions of people around the world form opinions based on fleeting moments, viral clips, and sound bites. And tonight, we're going to unpack all of it. The entrances, the booze, the private conversations, the insider perspectives, the social media explosion, and the shocking fallout that no one expected. By the end, you'll understand why this Golden Globe event isn't just another celebrity story. It's a turning point in the narrative of Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, surely they were prepared. Surely, they expected some mixed reactions. But the truth is, nothing could have prepared them, or anyone, for what unfolded. There were moments when Meghan's signature poise threatened to slip. Moments when Harry's composure cracked, revealing the man behind the title. And behind the cameras, the story became even more explosive. Security teams scrambling. Celebrities whispering. Hidden tensions bubbling to the surface. And social media? Exploding. Within minutes, hashtags were trending, clips were shared, and the narrative took on a life of its own, independent of the couple. Every second mattered. Every detail was scrutinized. And as we move forward, you're going to see just how quickly a red carpet entrance can turn into a cultural phenomenon. Let me ask you this. How would you react if the world turned against you in a single moment? Would you smile and carry on, hiding the storm behind your eyes? Or would you feel the sting of judgment, the weight of expectation, and the pressure of public scrutiny? Harry and Meghan had to navigate both, and the story of that night is far more than just booze and flashes. It's about human emotion under extreme pressure, the collision of public and private life, and the unpredictable power of perception. And tonight, you're going to experience it as though you were there. Every gasp, every whisper, every shock. And here's where the suspense really kicks in. By the end of this video, we'll reveal the moments that cameras didn't capture, the private exchanges, the whispers, and the behind-the-scenes drama that made this night unforgettable. You'll see how a single evening could change public perception, create viral headlines, and leave even the most seasoned Hollywood veterans talking for weeks. The drama isn't just in what happened. It's in what came next, in the ripple effects that are still being felt today. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the air shift around you? The kind of shift that makes every step heavier, every glance sharper, every heartbeat louder? That's exactly what happened when Harry and Meghan's limousine pulled up to the 2026 Golden Globe Awards. The car slowed to a crawl, the red carpet stretched ahead like a river of flashing lights, and in that moment, nothing else seemed to exist. The cameras, the celebrities, the security, it all faded into the background as the couple stepped into a world that felt suddenly unpredictable, volatile, and electric. The first thing anyone noticed was the silence. Not the respectful kind, but a tense, uneasy pause, the kind that comes right before a storm breaks. You could see it in the eyes of the photographers, those seasoned veterans of 1,000 red carpets. Their shutters paused mid-click, almost as if sensing that this wasn't going to be like any other celebrity arrival. And for Harry, that pause was almost audible. His jaw tightened, his eyes scanning the crowd for reactions he could read and control, and yet, there was nothing he could prepare for what was coming next. Meghan, beside him, held her signature composed expression, but her hands were tightly clasped, her posture poised yet taut with anticipation. Every step felt deliberate, every movement scrutinized, and every heartbeat seemed amplified by the flashing cameras. And then, the first sound. Not applause, not a cheer. A single, sharp, unmistakable boo. It pierced the air like a warning. The kind of sound that turns heads, freezes conversations, and changes the energy of a room in an instant. People whispered. Some laughed nervously. Others looked around, searching for confirmation that they hadn't imagined it. But it was real. And in that moment, the red carpet, a place of glamour and celebration, became a battlefield. Every glance, every whisper, Every murmur suddenly carried weight, and the couple's carefully rehearsed composure was about to be tested like never before. Imagine the tension in that instant. Celebrities adjusting their gowns, men straightening their ties, everyone silently negotiating how to react. There was a ripple effect. One person's laugh, one person's sideways glance, one barely audible whisper. It all fed into the crowd's energy, feeding the tension like a fire growing in a parched forest. Harry's eyes flicked around, sharp, almost searching, looking for allies in the sea of glittering faces. Meghan's gaze was fixed forward, measured, calculated, but there was a flicker. A small, human crack in the perfection that betrayed the storm beneath. The photographers captured it all, each flash a heartbeat, each frame a record of attention that would define the evening. And yet, the boos weren't the only surprise. Rumors suggest that some of Hollywood's elite had been watching, waiting, calculating reactions that would be strategically amplified by cameras and whispers. There were reports of subtle nods, smirks, and private signals. Gestures designed to make the moment more electric. Some of the celebrities had history with the couple. Others had grievances fueled by rumors, gossip, or personal clashes. And in the middle of it all, Harry and Meghan had to navigate this unseen minefield with poise, a challenge no one outside the room could fully understand. Every smile, every nod, every step was an act of diplomacy and survival under a microscope that magnified even the smallest imperfection. Then there was the unexpected layer, the photographers. They weren't just capturing images, they were participants in the drama. Shutters clicked in bursts, some in rapid fire, some in deliberate single shots, almost as if marking each emotional beat of the couple. The flashes illuminated every micro-expression. Harry's tightening jaw, Meghan's fleeting flick of a hand, the subtle narrowing of their eyes. For the audience at home, these moments would later be dissected frame by frame. For the couple, each click was a reminder of the audience's scrutiny and the stakes of every step. There was a rhythm to the chaos, a pulse that matched the anxiety, and it became almost impossible to tell where the crowd ended and the drama began. Then, just as the couple approached the main staircase leading into the venue, the second wave hit. It wasn't a single boo this time. It was a rolling, almost coordinated chorus of disapproval. Some clapped sarcastically, some shouted words. Snippets, phrases meant to provoke. And in the midst of this, a small group of onlookers began laughing, a nervous, high-pitched kind of laughter that made the tension even more tangible. Security personnel shifted, moving closer, scanning for threats that weren't physical but emotional. It was a strange, surreal combination, a glamorous event charged with hostility, a couple trained for public scrutiny, and an audience teetering between civility and chaos. Every step forward felt like navigating a gauntlet. What's remarkable is how Harry and Meghan responded. Meghan's posture was perfect, her eyes forward, her smile unwavering for cameras. Yet for anyone trained to read human expression, there were tiny cracks. Her fingers drummed lightly against her clutch, a subtle rhythm that betrayed the tension behind the composed facade. Harry, meanwhile, displayed a combination of protective instinct and internal calculation. He kept a measured pace, hands subtly guiding Meghan, eyes flicking between the crowd and the cameras. It was a dance, almost imperceptible, between control and vulnerability. And the more the audience reacted, the tighter the tension became, creating a feedback loop that would define the night. Have you ever noticed how a single person's energy can shift an entire crowd? It happened several times on that red carpet. A whispered comment, a subtle smirk, a glance in the wrong direction. It all added fuel. And for Harry and Meghan, these micro-interactions weren't just irritating. They were magnified by history. Every glance seemed to reference past controversies, old tabloid stories, and the public perception of a couple constantly under scrutiny. Their walk down that carpet wasn't just a literal path. It was symbolic, a journey through the world's opinion, step by step, image by image. And every movement was interpreted, analyzed, and amplified in real time. The final stretch before entering the venue was perhaps the most telling. Cameras were now focused almost entirely on them, flashes blinding, and every second felt stretched. Whispers turned into audible murmurs. Security staff subtly shifted positions. Celebrities in the front rows adjusted their stance. And as they reached the threshold, the crowd's energy reached a peak, a mixture of anticipation, judgment, and raw, unfiltered emotion. Harry and Meghan paused, just for a moment, as if acknowledging the room, acknowledging the storm, and preparing for what was next. That pause, though brief, would later become a focal point for social media debate, dissected in thousands of frames, analyzed for meaning, intent, and emotion.